Hey guys, so as usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. Alright, so let's get started with everyone's favorite sideways indicator, the Bollinger Bands. So I tweeted this out earlier today, hoping that Bollinger himself will respond soon, tomorrow, I don't know. Basically what I'm looking at here is a tightening of the bands on the daily. They came in really quick. We had a lot of sideways here. You can see the price is above median. On that last break it was below median. Maybe it was the hopium I was on that was going to go north instead of south. I don't know. Part of that as well was we were above the cloud here, which is, the cloud is my number one indicator, so I tend to trust that above all else. So it'll be interesting to see if this goes north, even though it's below the cloud. And we'll look at that in another chart. So this is Bollinger Band width, and this is %B, which just says how far into the band it is. If it's really high in the band, it'll be a higher number. If it's really low, it'll be a lower number, towards the higher or lower band. And if you want to hear someone explain it, you can watch Bollinger's video. Just Google John Bollinger webinar, and that'll pop up. So now if we go to the weekly, if we look at the weekly Stoke RSI, we can see it in the historic since like 2014. It really hasn't ever gotten this low very often. So it'll be interesting to see. This is a cross. It technically hasn't been confirmed until the next week, and then we have this 20. You have to be above 20, suggesting bullish strength. So we'll see what comes to pass as far as how this exactly plays out. You can see that this is probably the best example of the last cross that played out really well. This was the beginning of the trend, the end of the sideways area over here. You can see we crossed here, we got a little pop, crossed here, not really much action. We did get a pop, but point is that that's bullish, so that's there as well. If we look at the pitchfork, we've been grazing the bottom of the pitchfork, the dangerous dredges of the blue quartile. So if this holds, our next target's this diag here, and if I would have moved this over a little bit, you could have seen how well this lines up. But here's a great example of how well this played out. So even if you don't believe in pitchforks or diagonal lines, it suggests that this is our target somewhere up here when we do break up, hopefully 4,700, something like that. Just one target to keep in the back of your head. The most obvious target is a complete retrace, which is about 4,400-ish, somewhere in there. And then if we look at the daily cloud, so some cloud 101, the reason why I was telling everyone I was going long here, not only was I actually going long, but because the general rule is the best long entry is on the Kijun above the cloud with a bullish Kumo. And that's what we had. We ended up breaking down. Now there wasn't a bullish confluence with B-bands. B-bands were showing below median, weakening of strength, suggesting south versus north. So now we have cloud suggesting a short entry, whereas B-bands are currently suggesting that this is going to break up. So we'll see who wins. You could also read this as like an edge-to-edge trade, 39.25 to 4,200-ish. Another thing I saw on here was the possible Adam Eve. I'm calling it an Adam and Eve. You get the V, you get the U, double bottom. No, they don't line up. They don't always line up. In Forex they do. usually. Bitcoin acts a little differently. Whether or not it behaves like an Adam and Eve, I don't know. If it does behave like an Adam and Eve, entry would be above this neckline here. With confirmation of volume, your target would be between 42 and 4,400. And you'll remember I tweeted out this chart, basically all of some possibles as far as what we could be looking at. So here's the Adam and Eve. You can see we didn't come back down to the previous zone. I would have liked it to have come down there. I would have been more confident. We would have had like the 4x bottom. So that would have been nice as far as an entry. I had all my bids there. We'll see what happens, but I don't think it's fair to expect another spike down this far without some sort of news catalyst. This was the Bitfinex hack news, so to really expect something to go down that far again, I don't know. But this looks pretty confirmed to me. I'm not long right now, so maybe that says my lack of confidence in the Adam and Eve call, but you know, I think it's there. And this is another, it's evidence as to what you should be doing. You know, you're trying to forecast, obviously, what's happening so you can build a plan and then react, be proactive versus reactive when something does happen like this. So now if we move to the 4-hour cloud, this is where I tend to like shoot for my, when I draw my targets as far as where I think moves are going to go. So we can see some cloud stuff. The TK is bullish above the cloud is bullish, lagging span is above the cloud above the price. All those things are bullish. So the cloud on the 4-hour is completely bullish right now. What you're really waiting for, what I'm waiting for, is volume and a break of 4K. That might occur in one candle, I don't know, but I think that would be your best bet as far as the long entry. And again, here's the Adam, here's the Eve. So just based on the chart pattern alone, that would be an entry signal breaking 4K. If we break 4K, it's a psychological barrier as far as a resistance barrier. So those are all good examples of why 4K is important here. There's also a diag that I tweeted out 2 days ago, I think. From the top of the trend all the way down. Whether or not that's relevant, I don't know. Someone was asking me about USD prices on charts. I don't really know which exchange to chart anymore. We're going to go with Bitstamp right now. And again, you'll notice 600 psychological level. So it's a pretty important in both USD and CNY. 600 4K. It's also the Adam and Eve neckline. We're also above S1 pivot here on USD. On CNY, I've actually been above the pivot for a little while now. We got a nice little pop on the pivot right there. So this lower time frame is definitely leaning long. My only trepidation is the daily cloud right now as far as confluence. And then if we look at hourly, if I'm looking at my best entry as far as where I want my bids, if I don't want to just go long right now, 3,900 is probably where you want to stick your bids just based on the Kijun. You can see what you want is something like this, where you get a wick down, right? Catches your bids, you're golden, you're laughing, as they say in the UK. I was contemplating like some cup and handle stuff, but I think that's a little too fancy. I think it's just ranging. This might end up being a cup and handle. That's probably more likely, but we'll see. So now if we go to the daily 50 and 200 EMA, you can see the last time we had the cross was here. The last time we were distinctly in the middle of these EMAs were here during the ascending triangle. You can see we're distinctly in the middle now. We're not yet above the 50. So that's another sign as far as the long entry signal. It's not a great long entry signal, but it's a long entry signal. You'll notice it's around 4K. So all these boxes are being checked as 4K as being like the resistance potential reversal zone. as far as bouncing down from or exploding up to 4,300, 42, 4,300. If we look at the 4-hour, as far as signals, there's nothing really here. We're in the middle of stuff in between the 250. About the 400 again is the 200 on the 4-hour. 4K is about where the 200 EMA is on the 4-hour. So a break of that would suggest a long entry signal. If you're looking at the hourly EMAs and you're following along with my EMA entry checklist, we've had the resistance failure, we've had the EMA cross. We've yet to have a confirmation support on the 200, but we did have, similar to the Kijun on the hourly cloud chart, we had 3 tests of the 50 which held. So that's interesting. Whether or not that's actionable, I don't know going forward. I'll have to look into that, but I'd be more confident if we tapped the 200 3 times and bounced up from there. Lastly, Charlie Lee, creator of Litecoin, tweeted this out. What this means, who the hell knows, but some people are hypothesizing that it means Litecoin is going to be added to GDAX, Coinbase today. Who knows, but LTCBTC, this is on BTCE, it did have a nice little movement here. It's had some volume. If Litecoin does get added, you can expect some buying to happen just based on that, even though buy the rumor, sell the news. Maybe you want to buy now. I'm not, I'm just going to stay out, but I'd expect people to want to buy Litecoin just based on adding it to Coinbase. People are always looking for fiat gateways for altcoins, so that's a great one. So I'd expect the target to be somewhere around this flat Kumo, 0.0079, which is about $1 on spot, 4.6, I think, 4.6 something. I think it's at 3.6 something, 3.9 something right now. So you can expect $1 pop on Litecoin, I think, if it actually does get added to GDAX. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Question of the day. Do you have a go-to indicator? And what do you do when Confluence does not support the indicator you trust most? In this case, for me, I trust the cloud the most. I have the most experience with it. Bands, however, are telling me opposite. So what do you do? Let me know in the comments. Like, dislike, share. Hit me up on Twitter, Telegram. Have a good one.